So this review is probably just over topics 1 through 4 because it's just the first benchmark you took. So these may be questions we haven't done in a while, okay? All right, so number 1 says the value of a car can be modeled by that function where T is the number of years the car is owned, which statement is true. So look at your choices. What is the key word that all of them include? Depreciation. What does depreciation mean? Go down. So here's our rate. Okay, 0.88. All right, so if we started, this formula is saying that we only have 88% left. So how much percent, or what was the depreciation rate that we lost? 12%. How'd you get that? 100 minus 88 is 12. So the answer here would be C, 12%. Now what if it said the inflation rate? But as for the inflation rate, then it would just be 88, right? We only know to subtract because it says depreciation, right? All right, number 2 says a college student works as a server at a restaurant and has a daily income represented by the function f of h equals 5h plus 27, where h is the number of hours the student works. Which function represents the inverse? So what are we looking for in this problem? The inverse, okay? How do you find the inverse? Before you solve, you have to do what with x and y? You have to swap them. So let's write this function in terms that we are familiar with. So f of h, f of b, f of whatever is also known as y equals. So let's say y equals 5x plus 27. That's a lot more familiar than f of h and an h, okay? So we're going to swap. So when we swap them, what's the equation going to read? Yep. Now we've already got x by itself, so we got to solve for which letter? We got to solve for y, right? What's the first step? Subtract 27. What's x minus 27? That's x minus 27. Equals 5y. To get rid of the 5, we do what? Divide both sides by 5. So we've got x minus 27 divided by 5. But since they're using h minus 27 divided by 5. So my answer is A. All right, number 3 says a biologist is monitoring the growth of bacteria over time. The biologist starts with 100 bacteria in the petri dish and finds that the number of bacteria doubles every hour. What does the word double mean? Multiplies by 2. Look at your choices. There is only one that is multiplying by 2. B. What is what is A doing? Multiplying by 1. C is not multiplying by 2, but adding 2. And D is adding 1. So the only thing it can be is B, because it says it doubles. All right, number 4. When I did number 4 the first time, I got it very wrong. And that's because I missed one important word. Okay? It says the Fish and Wildlife Service estimates that the population of stray cats in the area can be represented by that function. T represents the weeks since the estimate was made. Here's the important part. A local shelter accepts stray cats to reduce. When we're reducing, what are we doing? We're subtracting, right? All right, then it says, if the shelter accepts 4 cats each week to care for until they are adopted, which function represents the population? So, the two things that we have underlined, the word reduce and 4 cats each week. Not just 4 cats, one time, but every week we're doing that. So we're looking for one that has a subtraction sign because it says reduce. So which two can we mark out? C and D. Now between A and B, which one tells us 4 cats each week? B, because what does it tell you up here? T represents the weeks. Student is learning to play the piano. A student decides to practice for M minutes on Monday. So how many minutes are we practicing on Monday? Just M. The student decides to practice for M minutes on Monday and then increase the time practicing by N minutes each day until Sunday. So every day we're going to increase by how many minutes? N minutes. Okay, we don't have an actual number, we just have letters. And then repeat the pattern. Here's the important part. Which expression gives the number of minutes the student will practice on Thursday? So we're starting on Monday. Okay? How many days are between Monday and Thursday? Or how many times 3, right? So we're starting on a Monday. And then it is 3 days until Thursday. But every day we're adding N minutes. So it has to be M plus 3N because there are 3 days between Monday and Thursday. Number 6. What is the inverse of f of x equals 2 to the power of 3x? First of all, what type of function is this? Linear, quadratic, or exponential? Exponential, so write exp above that. What is the inverse of an exponential? A log, right? So let's just do some process of elimination. Are A and B in log form, or are they still in exponential? They're still in exponential. So can that be the answer if we're looking for the inverse of exponential? No, so we're marking out A and B, and I want you to write exp beside it. So you know that's what that is. So now we've got C or D. Okay? So let's change this exponential function that we're given in to terms we know. What is f of x known as? Y. So let's rename this as y equals 2 to the power of 3x. Now we're getting ready to find the inverse. So first we have to swap them. So now it's going to say x equals 2 to the 3y power. How do you change from exponential to log or log to exponential? Something to the something equals something. B to the y equals x, yes. B to the y equals x. All right. Now, when we change that, it goes to y equals log base, what? B or x? B of x. So now all we have to do is change the form, okay? What is the y in this case. Not 3x, but 3. 3y. Because we had to swap them. So 3y equals log base 2 of, what's x? Just x, right? Now, right here, we got to get y by itself. So how are we going to get rid of that 3? We're going to divide it. When you divide it, does it go on the top of that fraction or the bottom of that fraction? The bottom. Which one's the only one that has 3 on the bottom? C. Now, y equals log base b of x is the same thing, okay, as y equals log x divided by log b. So how would we rewrite that log? Log x divided by log, what's our b value? 2. When you divide by 3, it goes on the bottom. So you just attach that 3 right there. So write this part down for sure. We hadn't really learned that part yet. This is calculator part, so you can use it if you need it. All right, so we've got a shoe store. We've got 2 functions, f of x and g of x. And it asks us to find p of x, which is the total, the total amount of both stores. When it asks you to find the total, what are you going to do to those 2 functions? You're going to add them. So literally, negative 5x squared plus 168x plus 432 plus negative 8x squared plus 285x plus 108. You are adding like terms. All right, when you add those up, 432 plus 108 is what? 540. 168 plus 285 is 453x. And negative 5 minus 8 more is a negative 13x squared. So the answer must be A. Yep. Good. All right, we are going to skip number 8. Okay. Skip number 8. It's doing something funky and I don't know what it's doing. Number 9 is very, very confusing. Okay. So, it says, an athlete starts a new training program, starting with 10 push-ups on the first day he goes. Okay. And then adds 3 push-ups every day after the first day, increasing the total every day. Which equation represents the number of push-ups the athlete will do on day N? That is important, is that how many the athlete will do on day N. Okay? Day N is really going to be day 0. So if we're trying to do 10 push-ups when we first get there, we're going to go ahead and have to add 3 more to get in that routine. So, on your calculators, go to your y equals. And let's type in B. So 3x plus 10 or 3n plus 10, whatever. And hit second table. Oh, this one needs to be chunked. Okay, just grab that one. I'm going to chunk this one. Like, chunk it. Up here, when you highlight your x value, that's your day 1. How many push-ups does it say that they're doing? Huh? 13. What does your paper say though? We're doing how many? We're doing 10. So is that one right? Because it says day 1, we're doing 13. So now go back and type in 3x plus 7. And go to your table. It says on the first day we're doing 10 push-ups. Does this one say on the first day we're doing 10 push-ups? Yes, so my answer has to be what? A. Number 10. Which function represents g of x as a transformation of f of x? So are we going from g of x to f of x or f of x to g of x? F of x to g of x, because it says g of x is a transformation of f of x. Okay, so put your pencil on the dot at f of x. Now, to get to that other point, where do we have to go? We have to go left. How many points? We have to go 5 to the left. All right, what does choice A mean?
Go right. No, go up.
Go up 5. What does choice B mean?
Go right.
Go right 5. What does choice C mean?
Go down.
Oh, I'm wrong. Wrong. First one's down. Sorry, my fault. I'm trying to confuse y'all. Down 5, and then C, positive 5 on the outside, so that means to go up, right. And then D means to go left. So the answer here is D. All right, number 11 says, the equation, that big long equation, models the amount of money in a bank account where the interest is compounded biannually. What does biannually mean? Twice a year. And T is the number of years. Which statement is true? So, write this equation. So this is almost a compound interest problem. Okay? What do you notice about the 1? It's already what? It's already there. So we are just looking for the rate. Just the rate. Not the 1, just the rate. So in this problem, what is my rate? We're not including the 1. So what's in the same spot as the R? 0.021. Yes. Okay. It says that that rate is compounded biannually. So how many payments are we going to be making? We're going to make 2. So what are we going to do that rate? Times it by 2. What is 0.021 times 2? 0.042. So look at your choices. All of those have 0.042. Do you agree? What are the difference in A and B and C and D? Okay, yes, increases and decreases, but look at what's in the parentheses. One of them says 2, one of them says 1. So on A and B, they multiplied that entire thing by what? 2. But really, we're only supposed to multiply the interest rate, which is 0.02. So which ones are not my answers? A and B for sure, because they say 2.024. And we only changed just the rate. So what is the difference in C and D? The one word that's different. Increases and decreases. All right, so since we've got a percent that's bigger than 1.042, is that increasing or is that decreasing? Increasing, so my answer is D. Yes. Number 12's got to be the easiest one on here, I think. Okay. You were looking at the y-intercepts. The y-intercepts is where it crosses what axis? The y-axis. All right, so on that graph, what is the y-intercept? Positive 5. Put a point on positive 5. In this equation down here, what is the y-intercept? Huh? Negative 8. If I put a point on this graph at negative 8, what is the difference? How much does it take me to get from the green point to the red point? Or red to green? How many units? 13 units. Now, why do you think it says the absolute value? If you went from negative 8 to 5, you would be going where? Up, so you're increasing. But if we chose to do 5 to negative 8, we'd be going down. So the absolute value means all the values are positive. So that's why. All right, number 13. You will need a calculator for number 13. All right, it says the total monthly profit at a bookstore 1 year ago was $1,400. Since that time, the profit was decreased by 8% each month. What is the total monthly profit right now, 12 months later? Now, do you see the word compounded? Any? Like compounded, whatever? No. So we're going to have an N value here. Remember, N is number of how many times a year. They don't say the word compound, so no. Okay? So, principal value. 1, are we going to be adding 8% or subtracting 8%? Subtracting 8%. And then however much time we've got. So what's our principal value? 1,400. 1 minus, what's my rate? 0.08. Remember, you have to change it to a decimal. And then how much time am I going for? 12 months. Type that in your calculator. You're given this formula on the thing. You're rounding to the nearest dollar. What's it closest to? 515. I think you get 514 something, don't you?
Yeah.
Closest to $515. All right, number 14. Easy way or hard way? Easy way, right? All right, so that graph don't really help you. Okay? So, let's just read the problem. When compared to the graphed function, So you're comparing it, okay? Which exponential function has a larger value for x equals 2? Look at your choices. All of them include a what in the exponent? They all include an x. And what did the problem just tell you? X equals what? What can you do with x equals 2? Plug it in and find which number is the largest. So do that for me. So you're plugging in 2 for every little x you see. What do you get for A? 0.008. All right, what about B? 0.02. What about C? And D? Out of those four things, which is the biggest number? D. Good job. All right, number 15. So we've got an internet service provider, and they're getting some new subscribers every year, okay? First year, they've got 80 people on their internet service. And if you notice, it's multiplying by what every time? It's multiplying by 2 every time. And here's the important part. It writes a function 80 times 2 to the power of n, where n is the numbers of years since the service started. But it says this function is incorrect. And it wants to know how to make it correct. Well, if we're looking for something since the service started, do we not need to know what happened the first 5 years before we get to the 6th year? We have to know what happened before to know what happened now. So out of those choices, which one tells us what happened the year before to know what's happening in the current time? C, because it has that what? N minus 1. All right, number 16, we are finding the inverse again. So let's rewrite it in terms we know. F of x equals before we start solving, what do we do to f of y and x? Swap them, right? Now we got to get y by itself. So the first thing I want to get rid of is the what? The 5, right? Subtract 5. X minus 5 equals y minus 7 squared. I've got a square on the right side, but I need to get rid of that square. To get rid of the square, I take the square root of both sides, yes. So now I have the square root of x minus 5 equals y minus 7, because these cancel. Got to get y by itself. So what should I do to that 7? How should I bring it over? I should add it over. Does it go outside the square root or inside the square root? Outside, right? So we've got the square root of x minus 5 plus 7 equals y. So let's see. B? What does this right here mean? Inverse. Write that down so you don't forget it. All right, number 17. I'm quite certain number 17 is also pretty easy. All right, we've got a function on the graph, and it is f of x, okay? We are trying to make an h of x. To make an h of x, what are we doing with this k and f of x? We're multiplying, right? So we got 2 points. The first point is 8, 0. Second point is 4, 0. When we are multiplying, how do we get from 8 to 4? Wait, what? From 8 to 4. A half. Half of 8 is 4. If it was -2, 8 times -2 is -16. So we're not dividing, we're multiplying. If it said dividing, what would the answer be? 2, right? 8 divided by 2. All right. Number 18. Easy way, hard way. Easy. So you need a calculator. It says, what is the approximate solution for 2 to the power of 6x equals 20? Look at your choices. X equals 4 different things. What can you do with each of those x's? Plug them in and see which one gets you closest to 20. Please do that. What do you get for the first one?
1.8.
1 point what? 1.18. What do you get for the second one?
19.97.
19.97. Looks pretty close. Let's check the other ones. What about C? 324. Oh, that's a lot bigger than 20. What about D?
6.827.
6.827 e to the what? Ooh, that's a big number. Which one's closest to 20? B. Good. All right, 19. 19's easy too. We're looking for a transformation from x squared, and then we change it, or we move it, this. When you see f of x plus 6, what does that mean? Does it mean to reflect? Do you see a negative sign? Nope, so it's not A and it's not B. C says vertex of the graph is 6 units to the left, and D says the y-intercept is 6 units above. So does that mean to go left or right or up or down? It's on the inside, so it means left or right. If it says x plus 6, we go left. All right, last one. Number 20. Population of a bacteria culture can be computed by that long fancy thing, where n with a base of 0 is the initial population and t is the months. If the initial population is 100, how long does it take for the population to reach 1 million? There's our equation. We're looking for when the population is going to be 1 million. It tells us our initial population is 100. And we're plugging in all of those t values to see which one is closest. So we're going to plug in 2.3, and then 4.6, and 6.6, and 8.8. And you tell me which one is closest to 1 million when you plug all of those in to the t value. How do you get E on there? LN. Yep. It's not going to be when it is a million, but when it is or like close. What do you get for when you plug in 2.3? Or what's it closest to? So 9,000 what? Is that closest to a million? No. What about B? What does B give you? 1 0 2 0 1 2. All right, so that's 1 2 3 comma 1 2 3 comma. Oh, that's pretty close to a million. All right, what about C? Is that the answer? Is that what you got?
Just take one in
Yeah, take one
between.
of
There's
them.
no
One
number.
Okay. First number is
9.
9. Then
8,
8. 8.
9,
9.
7,
7.
1,
1.
2.
2. Okay. Whew. All right, that's close to a million. What's the third one? 4 billion? 4 million? A lot bigger than 1 million, right? So the answer has to be B.